He's going to turn the prisons inside out, and he's going to turn Whole Foods into no foods.
Trashing Trump, promising a bunch of free stuff, zero experience.
Imagine a grocery store run by the city. It would be a hellhole.
His views are far closer to communism than Clintonism. This guy makes AOC look like a moderate.
He makes Eric Adams look like a conservative right-winger.
Yes, can you hear me now? Hello?
This is what the Democrat establishment's been trying to keep a lid on for decades, since Occupy Wall Street.
The Democrats have gone so far left, they're socialists now. It's President Trump that's really in the middle looking at everybody and governing that way.
Typical of Gen Xers, Mamdani has replaced thinking with feeling, and he won big among the young vote.
He's not hiding what he's selling, but he does it in such a way, it's so slick and polished. It's like a teaser episode of Love Island. And of course, millennials get on board with this because they're sold something that Eric Adams has called snake oil. And it's much worse than that.
This is the Bernie bro, Dave Hogg, AOC faction that's now going to run wild all over the place. And you're basically giving this, I guess he's a Muslim communist from another country, City Hall in the best city in the world.
Zohran's a Muslim, and his views are staunchly anti-Israel.
Not to mention his virulent anti-Zionism, and that's a very nice way of saying anti-Semitism.
So unless rich New Yorkers band together, donate a lot of money, and create a groundswell for a viable alternative to Mamdani, another great American city is going to swirl down the drain.
As you can see, Fox News is having a normal one after New York City Democrats nominated Zohran Mamdani to be their next mayor. And I love this idea that the only way to stop him is to have rich people band together to create a groundswell of support, as if they haven't already banded together to stop him in the first place. But it's comical to think that there'd be genuine grassroots support, I guess, for rich people among working class people. Like, what would the pitch be exactly? Hey, peasants, I know that you're struggling to pay rent, but if we don't come together to stop this Muslim communist, I'm not going to be able to buy myself another yacht if this Muslim communist raises my taxes by 2%. Oh, did I mention that he's a Muslim communist? I mean, I don't think that's going to be a very good pitch. Like, it seems like a very tough sell. And I love that Republicans are also suddenly concerned about experience after electing Donald Trump, a reality television show star, twice to be president. But the hysterical shrieking that we're seeing from these dipshits actually does make me feel optimistic in a roundabout way, because they very clearly have nothing. They're doubling down on the same strategy that failed to stop him in the first place. Oh, well, did you know that he's anti-Zionist, which actually means he's an anti-Semite? I'm sorry, but that disingenuous line of bullshit just doesn't work anymore. Everyone knows that anti-Zionism isn't tantamount to anti-Semitism, because there's probably more Christian Zionists in the country than there are Jewish Zionists. And him criticizing Israel makes him look reasonable. It makes you look unreasonable to think that criticism of Israel is comparable to anti-Semitism. And Zohran Mamdani represents the base of the Democratic Party, who also thinks that our country shouldn't be funding Israel's genocide of the Palestinians. So needless to say, every single attack that they've lobbed at him thus far has fallen flat. But they think that if they just call him a communist more and loudly, that'll work at some point. In fact, that's what Trump did in his first tweet about Mamdani. He called him a 100% communist, and with no self-awareness whatsoever said that his voice is grating and he's not very smart. And then he compared him to members of Congress like AOC. Please don't do that. Don't compare him to one of the most popular political figures in the country. No, please stop, Trump. That'd be terrible. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm disappointed by that response, because he didn't even come up with a nickname for Zohran. Like, you could have called him Commie Mamdani, and you didn't even take that opportunity to call him that. Like, it's just, He's lost the sauce, as some of the kids are saying nowadays. But, you know, here's the reason why his attack falls flat. Because if everyone is a communist, then no one's a communist. Trump has called everyone a communist, including Joe Biden. Yes, he thinks Joseph Robinette Biden is a communist. So in calling anyone to his left a communist for so long, he's desensitized people to the point where that attack has no meaning. But I guess that if he says that Zohran is a 100% communist, then that's going to do it. Okay, Grandpa, let's get you to bed. But I don't think that these idiots understand that they're making communism look cool in ascribing that label to Zohran Mamdani. And they do this every single time. They're highlighting how he wants to build affordable housing and freeze the rent and expand LGBTQ plus rights. And Fox and Friends brought on Eric Adams to fearmonger about his more popular policies. And they essentially gave Zohran Mamdani free advertising.
How can someone vote for this?
He's a snake oil salesman.
They are so fucking out of touch. How do you not vote for this? The city is so expensive, it's barely livable. Why is it surprising to you that people want their city to be more affordable? Not everyone has money printers that they can make go burr whenever they want to buy some shit. Now, on Hannity, they did the same thing, but while all of Mamdani's extremist policies were scrolling on the side of the screen, you'll hear Mamdani's Republican opponent, Curtis Sliwa, squawk at you about random bullshit that doesn't even make sense, but just listen.
Well, just remember, the millennials now are the majority of the population. It's no longer the baby boomers. You have to have the ability to get millennials, which I have. As you know, Sean, I've recruited young people all over this country and all over the world to be guardian angels. And for 46 years, I've gotten them to voluntarily go out there, risk their lives, and take back the streets and the subways. I'm telling you, you go into the subway system tonight, you're taking your life into your hands.
Reality check. If you don't have those policies, sir, you're not going to get the millennials. And I'm so sorry to have to do this to you all, but I have to show people what his head looks like without the beret, because my God, that is utterly horrifying. It's like seeing a turtle without its shell. I'd imagine that this is what Tim Pool's head looks like, but as bad as it looks, I'm sure that the smell is even worse, which I don't want to think about. I'm sorry. And I love how Raphael responded with the perfect picture. And I mean, it somehow really does look like a cupcake when you take off the wrapper. This is just so weird. My advice to these conservatives would be to let your head breathe once in a while, okay? But before I get too sidetracked by random bullshit, as you can see, Republicans across the country, they are still frothing at the mouth, shitting their pants over Zohran Mamdani's win. Fox News is reporting that New York Republicans are warning of an imminent disaster if he wins, as if we care about what they have to say at all. And then you also have Republicans now trying to pressure Trump to invoke the unconstitutional Communist Control Act of 1954 to illegally stop Zohran from winning, something that would get shot down in courts immediately if he tried. And you even have washed up has-beens like 50 Cent coming out of the woodwork to threaten to tattle on Mamdani, I guess, literally saying, quote, "I'm telling Trump," like a petulant fucking child. Hey, 50, when it comes to your wealth, all we really need is a little bit, not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit. I couldn't resist. I had to. Listen, I think you're going to be okay as 49 cents, but if you don't shut the fuck up, we will make it a quarter. So don't piss off millennials, Curtis, because without us, you are nothing. But as hysterical as some folks have been, my favorite response came from none other than Chris Cuomo, whose main critique is that Mamdani represents the left-wing version of MAGA, and he contends that this new movement forming on the left is every bit as hateful as the fascist right-wing movement that formed on the right.
The Democratic Party is now officially in MAGA mode. We are now on both sides in a period of extremism. The same way MAGA played with the prejudices of white nationalism, you're seeing an identical dynamic on the left with prejudices like tacitly supporting extreme Islamism or targeting Jews. For the right, it's migrants. For the left, it's Jews. It's fundamentalist Christians dominating the right. It's fundamentalist Islamists making headway on the left. I know that doesn't sound like Democrats, but that party is dead. What it will be reborn as, we'll see. And this is not about Muslims, at least not for me. It's about extremism.
Oh, so it's not about Muslims? Are you sure about that, Chris? Because you're implying that Zohran Mamdani is a jihadist because... why? Because he doesn't support Israel dropping bombs on the heads of children in Palestine? I'm an atheist, through and through, but I agree with Zohran that Israel indeed should not be allowed to exterminate an entire group of people. Does that make me a jihadist as well, or would I fall under the category of standard anti-Semite in Chris Cuomo's book since I'm white? I mean, his argument is essentially, if you don't let Israel do a genocide, then you hate the Jews. Again, this defamatory smear did not work in the primary, and it's not going to work in the general because most Democrats of all faiths, or lack thereof, agree with Mamdani on this issue, not Chris Cuomo. As a matter of fact, his own audience doesn't agree with him, as evidenced by the fact that if you look at the comment section on that video, every single commenter is roasting the shit out of him. Here's some examples. We get it. You are butthurt your brother lost. So now the right-wing heel turn begins. Bill Maher will surely hire you. Who is targeting Jews? He literally just said he wouldn't visit Israel, bro. Relax. Tell your brother to stop assaulting women and he might still have a career in politics. This is such a ludicrous overreaction and hyperbole. Like, this is exactly what someone watching this from their ivory tower of Cuomo pedigree would think about widening wealth inequality. Rich man yelling into the void because poor people are sick of people like him, lol. Chris is highly unreasonable. Equating MAGA with progressive Dems is all you need to know about this guy who's only here because he was born with the last name. Fuck out of here. LOL, I don't care if you're a Muslim. Okay, you brought it up. The sense of entitlement the conniving corporate freeloader class have is enormous. What personal behavior do Chris Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, and Donald Trump share? So because your brother loses an election, you disregard everything the other candidate stands for and focus directly at his religious preference? If that ain't textbook bigotry, I don't know what is, Chris. It's shameful, bro. And I kid you not, I didn't see a single comment in agreement with Chris Cuomo. I did see some Trump supporters wade in to attack him for comparing them to the left, but not a single person bought his defamatory argument about the left going full jihadi. And I think that it stings a little for Chris to know that Mamdani didn't just win, he won a mandate. As Juniper points out, Zohran Mamdani got more votes in the first round than Eric Adams got in the final round in the last election. So Chris Cuomo's sex predator brother got blown the fuck out, and he's mad about it. And I'm sure that's why he's so salty. But a lot of the establishment Democrats that are mad right now, they're mad because they're having an existential crisis, because they're trying to figure out if they're going to be the next Andrew Cuomo. And you know it's serious when Axios uses headlines worthy of YouTube titles to describe the situation, like Democratic establishment melts down over Mamdani's win in New York, and they add, quote, the top two Democratic leaders in Congress, Senator Chuck Schumer and Representative Hakeem Jeffries, both New Yorkers, declined to endorse Mamdani even as they applauded his victory. New York Representative Laura Gillen from Nassau County called Mamdani the absolute wrong choice for New York. Representative Tom Suozzi, also from Nassau, said he had serious concerns. Representatives Pat Ryan, Josh Riley, and Richie Torres, who went as far as to say that he wouldn't run for governor if Mamdani won, all dodged reporters. Representative Dan Golden, asked if he had any thoughts on the result, told Axios, not right now. Oh, they're so mad. Major Democratic donors who poured tens of millions into a super PAC for Cuomo were having private discussions Wednesday about whether to back an independent run by Cuomo in November's general election or rally behind unpopular incumbent Mayor Eric Adams, who's also running as an independent. But as David Hogg puts it, all of these Democrats need to vote blue no matter who. Exactly. I love how they're not even entertaining the option of just sucking it up and voting for Mamdani. They're just straight up not going to support him. But I want to echo what David Hogg said here. Now is the time for Democratic unity. It's time for all of us to come together in support of the Democratic nominee for the good of the country. I get that their preferred candidate didn't win, and that's sad, but speaking from experience, that's the way shit goes sometimes. So bend the knee, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, and vote blue no matter who, because now is the time to fall in line and support the Democratic Party's nominee. Part of the reason, though, why Democrats are so fearful right now is because lines have been drawn specifically by voters for once, and the fascist appeasing pro-genocide wing of the party, that has now officially blown up in their faces. And their brand has become so toxic to regular people that they question whether or not they're going to get Andrew Cuomo. But they should really be thanking Mamdani because he breathed new life into the party that was dying. But instead, they're holding out hope that his victory was a one-off or that there's some way that they could rat fuck this election into getting Eric Adams as mayor or something. But I'm here to tell them that this was not a one-off. And we are not going to let them rat fuck this election as they have every other election. And Zohran himself made it clear that his victory absolutely represents a way forward for the party.
I think It is part of a larger referendum on where our party goes. And I think one of the hopes that we had from the very beginning of this campaign was to move our political instinct from lecturing to listening. You know, at the national level, after the presidential election, we saw that New York was actually the state with the largest swing in the country towards Donald Trump, 11.5 points, and that swing took place far from the caricature of Trump voters, instead taking place in the hearts of immigrant New York City. And I went to those neighborhoods. I went to Fordham Road in the Bronx and Hillside Avenue in Queens, and I asked those New Yorkers, the vast majority of whom were Democrats, why they voted for Trump and what it would take to bring them back to the Democratic Party. And again, what I heard from them was cost of living, was an inability to afford the very things they recalled being able to purchase 4 years ago. And when they told me what it would take, they said again and again, a relentless focus on an economic agenda. And ultimately, in listening to them, we built a campaign that was explicitly about making this city affordable. And I think too often in politics, there's a desire to impose what you think the debate is upon the people that you're seeking to represent, as opposed to listening to the very issues that are making it difficult for them to keep calling the city that they love the city that they live in.
And he's exactly right. For far too long, the response from Democratic Party elites has always been, it's my way or the highway. If you don't like it, fuck off, fall in line. And they were able to impose their neoliberalism on the rest of us because they got the base to believe that they were the only ones capable of stopping Donald Trump. So they basically used Trump as a gun to our heads. And then after they weren't able to stop Donald Trump, now they're refusing to fight Donald Trump. And the base sees what's happening. They realize seemingly that they've been taken for a ride by these liars, and they're opting for something different. It's an all-out revolution within the party, and it's because people are done with the lesser of two evils, because this incrementalist bullshit has not stopped Donald Trump. We are demanding politicians that actually represent us, so elected Democrats, they can either get on board or get the fuck out of the way. But if they don't get on the bus, they're getting ran over by it. You know, as for Republicans, the shrieking obviously isn't going to stop anytime soon, but Zohran proved that their fear-mongering doesn't matter if you cultivate enough genuine grassroots support. No amount of propaganda can convince people to deny their lived experience or that they shouldn't have better things. So our job as leftists right now is to just stay the course and rally behind Zohran Mamdani, defend him until we cement this win in November, and also fight for more Mamdanis like Kat Abou-Gazella, Dr. Abdul El Sayed, and Donovan McKinley.